About a year ago, I did Luigi's Mansion. A few months ago, I did Luigi's Mansion 2, Dark Moon. As Luigi's Mansion 3 was announced not too long before that, it was a working title, but whatever the case, it got people hooked. I couldn't wait for another round of Luigi's Mansion. It took nearly 2 decades, but Luigi finally has a trilogy to his name. Hopefully it won't take so long to get Luigi's Mansion 4, but that's not for a while. So what do I think about the game? Well, let's dive right into it. Bear in mind, there are spoilers throughout this video, so I recommend you play the game first. It's a good 12 to 15 hour game if you go for 100% completion. The game was developed by Next Level Games, who also developed Dark Moon. Next Level Games is good at one thing, which is cartoon visuals. The character emotions are all spot on, but let's cover the opening cutscene. So our story begins with Luigi and his friends heading to the Last Resort Hotel, having been invited. I don't know why they keep doing this, because every time they try to go on vacation, bad things happen. I wonder how Toad is able to drive that bus considering he has tiny little legs. But they really add to Mario and Peach's personality. Of course, our hero, Luigi, is fast asleep, and it's good to see that they kept the Polterpup as a way of keeping continuity. The character interactions are again the highlights when they get off the bus.
Oh yeah. Yep. Ha-ha. Here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah. Okay. Come on. Oh yeah. Let's go. Yeah.
The opening of the game allows you to explore the hotel, and lets Luigi interact with the cast, and the interactions are just delightful, and give the characters personality, such as Mario's love for food.
Oh. Hey, bro. Oh. Doggy.
Or how incompetent the Toads are. But I also must point out how stupid everyone is. Like, you clearly don't know that these guys are ghosts in disguise? I mean, seriously? Plot-induced stupidity, we'll call it. Following that, our heroes go up to the rooms, and yet I find it strangely adorable.
Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye. Bye. Night night.
Night-night.
The room is big and luxurious. You can even explore the room and have the opportunity to pet the dog. I like when games give me little interaction opportunities like that. So there's nothing to do but to go to sleep. Wish I could fall asleep that fast. But then Luigi awakens to the sound of a scream. It's a good thing Luigi brought his flashlight with him on vacation. I guess you always gotta be prepared for such a thing. Mario's room looks all hustled up. Obviously he put up a fight before going down, and Peach's room is just empty. Nothing but a hollow breeze to let you know that something is going down. Of course, it turns out that Helen Gravely is evil. I mean, with a name like that, who could have guessed? Of course she is. And King Boo has again set up a trap for Luigi. Turns out he's got a bit of a stalker. More on that later. King Boo obviously decided to save the best for last as he tries to capture Luigi with a painting. In the following sequence, I decided to actually get caught on purpose, and while Luigi's Mansion has never been known for having particularly good game overs, this game over screen... got a bit of a scare out of me. But what obviously happens is Luigi escapes down the laundry chute. Coming into the basement, our hero awakens, and I do enjoy his interactions with the Polterpup. It feels completely genuine. So Luigi finds the poltergust in a car, just like in Dark Moon. But this time, nobody was there to tell him what to do. It's like Luigi's actually stepping into his own and not needing EGAD this time. Also, I really like how the game does the tutorial. Short, sweet, and to the point. Before I moved on, I'll just point out that like the previous 2 games, money is what makes the world go round. There is nothing quite as wonderful as money. There is nothing quite as beautiful as cash. It's also good that this vacuum comes equipped with a straw bulb right away, so there's no need to reacquire it. Good touch there. The elevator will be your main way of traveling throughout the hotel. They didn't take the B1 button because, that would have made sense. When I went up the stairs, there was a trash can blocking my way. For a while, I didn't know what I was supposed to do, but this is supposed to teach you that the vacuum jump, as I call it, can clear debris that blocks your path. Don't know why I can't just move the thing, but okay then. A nice touch is that Luigi will sneeze once he picks up all the dust. The first floor of the hotel is now completely empty and abandoned, except for the ghosts who decide to make it so that you can't break out. So this is the first fight, and it gives you an opportunity to try to slam attack, and it's pretty mindless. It does add some variety to the combat, however. Later on, when you have multiple enemies, you can use it to flatten other ghosts. Getting the first key is simple enough, but inside the second floor you find EGAD in a painting. I guess King Boo was really taking extra precautions this time. Exploring the second floor is relatively simple. Finding out the puzzles to find the keys is simple. The blue ghosts are the most common ghosts. But the main goal is getting the dark light back. It's good that they give you access to this very early on and not make it a late addition. So Luigi frees EGAD from the painting, then you have to escort him back to the lab. One little touch I like here is that EGAD says that they should leave, and despite being a coward, the thought of abandoning Mario and his friends doesn't even cross Luigi's mind, which shows that he won't abandon his friends. Yes, I agree, money is important. One little touch I like is that EGAD will laugh at Luigi when he gets scared. Screw you, man, I just saved your life. Huh, he has little black beads for eyes. But then you come across the first boss ghosts. Each floor has a boss except the first floor, which makes Luigi's Mansion 3 feel unique. This boss isn't particularly challenging since you just have to flashbulb him when he's not shielding with the luggage. Defeating him rewards Luigi with 2 buttons for the first floor and the 5th floor. EGAD sets up an underground bunker which basically serves as your safe haven, where you check out your gallery or set up the online mode. More on that later. The purpose of this is that it gives Luigi the virtual Boo, the typical outdated Nintendo system. Yeah, about that. In Luigi's Mansion 4, it should be a Wii U gamepad. That would make the most sense. Personally, in terms of technology, it feels like a downgrade from the dual screen. This is where I found out about the suction shot. In the Castlevania Smash Bros. Trailer, Luigi was shown using this, which gave an early indication to Luigi's Mansion 3. Basically, its purpose is to grab things and break them. It's definitely a maneuver that comes in handy. The only thing I find annoying is the gyroscope controls that are used for aiming. It's just so annoying at times. The 5th floor is where Luigi and his friends were staying at. The main goal here is to get EGAD's briefcase, but this maid decides to steal it, and that means you have to track the ghost through the rooms. This is just a taste of what's to come. This game does that a lot. This time you have to use the plunger to expose it. It's to get you used to having to do that. The purpose of this is to introduce you to Luigi, who made an appearance in the 3DS remake of Luigi's Mansion 1. You're going to learn to love Luigi, as he can get through bars and walk through spikes, but he cannot get wet, otherwise he will melt. So it's important to use Luigi and Luigi together. I just wish the way to turn him off wasn't pressing the right stick twice. Luigi's Mansion 3 makes use out of every button for the controller, I'll give it that. Taking a moment to look at the gallery, you have rare ghosts which I didn't find at all throughout my playthrough. Apparently they're in the Scare Scraper. Great. The elevator is mainly used for loading the floor, so we don't have to load screens technically. The 3rd floor is where Luigi really comes in handy, as you must use them to access rooms that Luigi can't enter while chasing the security guard. The sewer gates can be hidden, but that's nothing you can't figure out on your own. I like the idea of Luigi serving as an extension of Luigi's ability, essentially a second Luigi. The only thing I find annoying is that whenever Luigi grabs a key and heads back to Luigi, he will drop the key and Luigi has to pick it up himself. It's not transferable for some reason. The whole gimmick of the floor is the usual proper club keys to unlock each door, so using Luigi and Luigi together is a big part of the floor. You get introduced to the red ghost, which requires you to grab the ghost by its tail to suck it up. This boss makes you use Luigi, who doesn't have as much health as Luigi, but it forces you to adapt. I like how each boss so far has a different strategy, and the delayed reaction of Luigi figuring out that he won.
Huh? Haha, I did it!
So, back to the second floor, exploring the area that you couldn't before. The fight here shows how the vacuum jump can give Luigi some room to maneuver. I like using that as a way to turn the tide. The boss of the second floor is a chef. I don't know what you're cooking, but I don't want it. Another boss battle that requires using the suction shot. No harm, no foul. But, in yet another trend, a mouse steals the floor key. This happens way too often, even going to the bathroom where you finally catch it. You know, at least wash the thing off before you use it. EGAT takes a moment to set up the shop, so finally Luigi can use that hard-earned money to buy things, such as buying the gold bones that will revive you, or a boo that is located on each floor. When the controller shakes, that's an indication that you are near a boo. If you miss them, they just move to another room. Although I do enjoy repeatedly slamming them over and over. Eat your heart out, Hulk! Now it's on to floor 4, where Luigi will find a painting of one of the Toads. Floor 4 is entirely a boss battle stage. It's the auditorium and the boss is a maestro. I like using the vacuum jump as a way to get across the rug. Although it's like Luigi, you can jump higher than your brother. Just jump yourself. The boss is fun because there are phases to it. Starting out throwing chairs at you, then the ghosts come out, then it finally involves using the suction shot to throw a bomb into the piano and sucking him up when it comes out. It's definitely a highlight of the game for me. Defeating him rescues Toad, the red one, so the main one, I think. You really think the Toads would all have original names besides just being called Toad. 4 hostages to go. The next floor is a gladiator arena. I didn't know hotels had gladiator arenas. I should mention now that going up the hotel floors is strictly linear, but that's okay, because linearity can make for a tighter experience. This level makes more use of Goichi's abilities, as Goichi will have to open paths for Luigi to take, such as this death trap that has the spikes closing in on Luigi, and Luigi has to hurry up and let him out. The boss fight is another highlight, as Luigi has to fight a knight in armor. It's appropriate for a stage like this. It really adds to the atmosphere of the fight. But it also highlights how much of a coward the ghost is because he won't fight without his armor. The stage is completed on to the next floor, the garden. The garden floor, well, it teases you by making you think the button is right there. But of course not. The gardener decides to make you climb to get the button. So this floor is all about how to use the plants to access the new rooms. Even using a chainsaw to cut the vines. Or using a vine to get across the room when it's like, Luigi, just jump. You can probably make that jump. I really like the use of the plants here, as it makes the floor very creative. Opening up the giant plant causes the button to fall down. And our hero heads back to the bottom of elegance and grace. But now it's time to fight the gardener. Once again, it's good variety, as fighting him requires tricking him into biting a huge plant and then cutting it off. Once again, this game is really surprising me in how creative the bosses are. So on to the next floor. It's a Hollywood floor, and this might be my favorite floor in the whole game due to how it's structured. You're tasked with fighting Morty's megaphone so he can shoot his movie. He's not a malicious ghost, just one trying to make a film. I know the feeling. What I love about this floor is using the cameras to essentially make a movie while lighting a torch to get the megaphone out. I find it really creative. The boss is a highlight too, as you basically get to do a kaiju movie. It's just like Godzilla with a mix of Ghostbusters. The ending is very similar to Crossing the Streams. I'm guessing the power of 2 poltergeists would be bad, but it needs to be done.
I love this plan. I'm excited to be a part of it. Let's do it.
He wants to edit his film in peace. Not a bad guy. But later on, you can catch him for an achievement, and even Luigi feels bad that he did this. Yeah, I feel bad too. But before you can move on to the next floor, you encounter the Polter Kitty, a very rude cat that you have to chase. This is becoming a trend. I find the strategy of beating it to be very clever. Turn your back, wait for her to get ready to pounce, and then stun her. All the while you can see Luigi clearly being terrified at having to do so. I think it's an interesting take on the face your fears approach. The only thing that's annoying is when she moves to a floor below, just makes the chase much more tedious. The 9th floor is actually really short. It's a museum, but you rescue the next Toad here, and that means that this is all about the boss battle. A giant skeleton T-Rex. Once again, I really like that you get to use a combination of Luigi and Luigi to shoot the eggs back at him. I really like the open space here. Then, once you defeat that, the caveman ghost comes out and it's a head-on fight. But, anyway, you rescue another Toad. And the next floor is B2, and this is probably my least favorite level in the entire game. The sewer level. And let me tell you, the sewer level is so annoying because the ghost refills the water, so Luigi has to ride a float while Luigi rides the top, making sure Luigi gets through, okay? Yeah, you go relax while I'm doing the work. The most annoying part is when the ghosts wearing shark fins show up, and when you get hit, you have to redo the area. Controlling the float is not particularly hard, just blow the vacuum in the direction you want to go. The boss battle is again the highlight, as it revolves around a tug-of-war between you and the mechanic ghost. The only thing that's annoying is that you have to climb out of the water and get to him before he recovers, and Luigi doesn't exactly move all that fast. But another ghost down and it's on to the 10th floor. The 10th floor is the pyramid floor. That means you can vacuum up all the sand around the arena, but it's a good level for making use of Luigi. When you fall to the bottom, you must enter 3 rooms which all contain a puzzle and a death trap. The first one has the ceiling crashing, and this level of course brings back the mummy ghosts. Just typical. What Luigi's Mansion 3 does well is that you have the ability to just warp back to the lab instantly if you ever need to, and it's really well appreciated. Then comes the one where you have to have a set amount of weight on the scale so the proper animal will be chosen, which I didn't know meant adding sand to the weight. The next room has poison gas, so you must shoot the proper item to the hole in the wall, but you gotta find them, and that's the annoying part. The boss battle against the Pharaoh is one of the most annoying bosses in the game, but like I keep saying, I like how all the bosses are varied and interesting. The next level is a magic show, which means getting looped around and doing your own magic. The only part I was puzzled on was catching this gold rabbit. It took a minute to realize that I had to use Luigi to get the dark light on it. What I will say about Luigi's Mansion 3, hands down, it is the best looking game on the Switch, and this level really highlights the attention to detail. Then it becomes a wild chase as you have to chase the 3 sisters down, but the boss battle with the sisters is again the highlight. Getting the hats down and picking them off one at a time is definitely satisfying after all they put you through. Going to the 12th floor, you can't advance because the boat is in the way, but Egad calls you back to the lab and tells you that Toad has a missing part that you need, so back to B2, how wonderful. Finding Toad in the part is easy enough, but then you have to go the long way around to get back to the elevator, how typical. If Toad gets captured by a ghost, it's an automatic game over. But fortunately, it's easy to avoid that. But I guess they felt they needed another part like in Dark Moon, where you have to use Toad to access other parts of the floor. I think it's creative, and they don't overdo it. Then Egad upgrades the Poltergust. It can now do Super Suction! Oh, I can't wait to try this! So let's go back to the 12th floor and try this out! Wow, this is amazing. I now know how Prince Adam feels when he becomes He-Man. I cannot wait to see what else I get to do with this. Oh. Once I got to the beach, the part that was really cool is when the boat came up. The yellow Toad painting is on the ship. The boss is a one-eyed shark ghost, but it possesses the ship itself. Kinda reminds me of Facade from Link's Awakening. This boss might be the highlight of the game for me. One of my favorite parts is when it switches to the side, throwing the barrels in its mouth, but then tilts up to try to get you. But knowing what to do, it creates really amazing scenery. Finally catching the boss just adds to the satisfaction feeling. So Yellow Toad is rescued and now it's off to the next floor. There's a cutscene that shows King Boo losing his patience with Helen. It's very interesting foreshadowing. See, I find that Luigi's Mansion 3 isn't too deep of a story, but it's entertaining. And in a game like this, that's all I ask for. The 13th floor theme is that it's a gym. Quite a good looking gym too. Of course you can't take the easy way, so the long way is once again needed. I love the interactivity. One room, you fight a boxing match. The fight is pretty unique too. I just love going on the treadmill. Yeah, Mario's the one who needs to lose weight, not Luigi. The puzzles are also creative as well. The boss takes place at a pool. Johnny Boy doesn't want to get out. The trick is to use Luigi to drain the water while Luigi has to stun Johnny Boy with a ball. After that, it's down to the pool and suck him up. Of course, the good things can't last as Polter Kitty comes out and you have to chase her again. Fortunately, this is the last time. The strategy is much the same, but this time you suck it up for good. I'm just very thankful that they didn't do it more than twice. The 14th floor is all about disco. If there's anything deader than a ghost, it's disco. It's a short level, so getting to the dance floor and fighting the boss where you have to get the button from the boss is again pretty creative. I even like how Luigi dances to the music if you let him.
He steps on the floor without making a sound. Then he starts feeling the beat. You would think the floor was greased by the way he's moving his feet.
He's a champion. He's the best. Impossible to tame. People say that he's obsessed. Listen to the sound of his name.
The boss ghost is Disco Dana, and moves like that would make even Disco Stew blush. But that's it, that's all there is to this floor. Feels like we're rushing a little bit to the ending. One floor remains, but before I cover that, let's talk about the other features of the game. Returning from Dark Moon are gems that you can collect. Each floor has 6 gems, all with a specific color. Finding them is not particularly difficult, you just have to use all your tools at your disposal. Some of the locations are very creative, and I like how they all have unique shapes for each floor. I went out on my way to get all the gems before I went to the top, and even got all the booze, which doesn't really give you much of a reward. It relies on the rumble control to tell where it is, which doesn't work on the Switch Lite, so you might want to work on that, Nintendo. The Screen Park is a local co-op competition. The minigames are pretty mindless. Supposedly there's more coming via DLC. My favorite is probably the cannon minigame. Screen Scraper makes a return from Luigi's Mansion 2, and I don't got an issue with the online. There's no lag, and I just question how Nintendo is able to get good online for some games, but yet can't get good online for Smash. Supposedly this is the only way to fight secret bosses like Boolossus, but I haven't done that yet. Okay, now for the end of the game. So there are big spoilers going forward, so be forewarned. The first part is a lobby, which makes sense for the luxurious. You have to get 4 keys in 4 different rooms. That usually means dodging laser traps. It definitely adds some more variety. Like I said, this is all about the variety. The only one I didn't care for was the scale one, mostly because it's so annoying to tilt. Near the end, you get attacked by many ghosts, and this is where the flaws of the combat system rear its ugly head. It was not designed around fighting this many ghosts like how the Arkham games are built around fighting large enemies. Around the floor are all these pictures of King Boo and Helen. Jeez, Helen makes the Naruto girls look positively tame by comparison. So Helen has pretty much lost it and just wants Luigi dead. You gotta love how she's trying to keep her composure but just can't. It's a good way to give her character some depth.
Sequash cutscene! Kano Soke Rimotara Big!
The boss against Helen is again another highlight because you have to use Luigi to turn off the levers, while Luigi has to dodge the lasers, which seems like it was built with co-op in mind, because Luigi is totally helpless, so you have to go back and forth between them. Sucking up Helen is fully satisfying. It's a nice, fun little co-op boss. So King Boo took Peach with him and not Mario, mostly because he knew the Mario Brothers would follow him if he had Peach. And I do enjoy the scene where Luigi frees Mario.
Oh yeah! Yeah! Way to
Mario.
go, Luigi!
Hey.
Oh.
Oh, yeah.
Huh? Oh.
Come on, this way.
This way. Oh, let's go. Huh? Come on. Ha! Oh yeah! Ha ha! Come on. Mario? Oh. Okay.
It implies that in the painting, the captives are aware of what's going on, which is even more horrifying. So now you get one final warning to the final boss. Luigi has to follow Mario up the stairs. One thing that I like is that it highlights the differences between them. Mario is brash and brave, while Luigi is more timid and cautious. Mario long jumps across a gap, while Luigi merely sidles across it. Then you get to the top of the hotel.
Ooh, let's go. Hop, hop, yep, wah, wah, yeah, yeah, oh, wah, 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 oh, yeah. Come on, bro.
Blood and flash! I can do that too!
But no, have to go to the ladder. So Luigi frees Peach and it seems to be a happy ending.
Yes! Yahoo!
Yes.
What I like about King Boo is that he's very much a serious villain in a cartoon, and he's losing his cool, so he decides to just suck everyone up in one big picture. The stage is set for the final battle! As it should be. It's up to Luigi to save the day and rescue everyone. So now it's Luigi versus King Boo. You have to dodge his attacks and shoot the bombs into his mouth. Then using both Luigi and Gooigi to throw him around. The second phase he splits into two, and you can tell the real one by the eyes. If they're glowing, it's him. Once you knock him down again, it comes to the final part where King Boo really loses it and tries to suck up the entire building. This whole battle is one big, long, villainous breakdown for King Boo. It adds a timer to the mix, and another clone. He's really going all at it. He just wants Luigi done for. But do the bomb thing one more time and King Boo will be sucked up again. So the day is saved, the painting is intact, Luigi manages to survive the fall thanks to Polterpup, and frees the rest of the cast.
Woo! Oh! Yahoo!
Oh yeah. Huh? Yeah. Way to go, bro. Thanks, bro. Oh yeah.
Yay!
I wouldn't rank this as the best final boss in Luigi's Mansion. That honor still goes to the original, but this is probably second. The stakes were smaller, but no less personal, as Luigi once again conquered his fears and rescued everyone from King Boo. With the ghost free of King Boo's control, the gang sets out to repair the hotel for the ghost to live in. So overall, I quite enjoyed Luigi's Mansion 3. It has some issues with its combat, but the game just oozes charm in its presentation and little quirks. The bosses are an absolute highlight, and I enjoy the fact that as a Luigi fan, that Luigi gets to be the hero. He's the first video game character I ever played as, after all, but with these games, Luigi has stepped out of his brother's shadow and become a hero in his own right. Also, if that's a rank C mansion, sign me up.
Oh yeah. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Ha. Yeah. Yeah. Wow. Oh.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for watching, and if you like this video, please hit that bell, like, and subscribe button. See you later!